another Coffee with Joy. I am so excited, so elated to have you all here. Hope you all did not eat so much during your Thanksgiving holiday. So great to have you here. Great. Let's check out the fit. It's the holiday fit, of course, the fall fit. Let's check it out. Got my little fedora on, This is the first in the show, of course, to many. Now let's jump right into the show. Have you all had your 2-year-old who has dying to want this great gift, who's looking for this awesome gift? Well, look what his parents have done for him.
What is that?
Dad.
Benson. Let's go look at it.
Wow, just the shock and the laughter, the excitement. I know we're all looking for some great gifts. So with the surprise of a 2-year-old, I know I probably will have that shocked as well. So sorry about that, you all. Now, I am a pet lover, but I don't have a pet, but I love pets from a distance. But some pets just don't want to leave you alone. Wherever you go, they want to be touched, they want to be held. Like this one pet owner, this pet is not letting this pet owner go. Now, let's give it up for that dog who refuses to give up, who wants that belly rub. Of course, everybody would love a quick belly rub. Probably you have a spouse, right? But that pet was not giving up. Now, we all have that one job that we don't even want to be bothered, we won't even deal with. Check out this one clip here.
Did you still want to hang out tonight?
Actually, I think I'm just gonna stay home. I'm not really feeling too well. I'm sorry.
What? No.
No, I feel bad.
Ugh. All right.
We've been there. I've been there as myself. You just don't want, sometimes you just don't want to go out. You have hit that age and you're like, done. So I hope you all like these clips. As you all know, Christmas coming up. We want to be surprised. Little snug. At the same time, we want to stay in. Hopefully people cancel on us, right? But up next, I have my guest, Brianna. We're going to be talking about creating consistent content. Now, she's here in the studio. I'm so excited to have her. She's going to be talking about some great things. Hey, B. Well, after these messages, I'm going to have my guest, Brianna, talking about content. See you all soon.
Our mission focuses on showcasing local and global talent of all ages on and off the field. We will strive to inspire, educate, and bridge the divides through our media collaboration. Our goal is to give student athletes and coaches the platform to let their talents be seen and a platform for the community to let their voices be heard. This is the Union Media Group.
Back to Coffee with Joy. Now we're going to have my guest, Brianna, come on as we talking about creating consistent content. Hey, Brianna, how are you? Hey,
Hi, how are you?
good. Can you tell the people a little bit about yourself and then we're going to jump right into our conversation?
For sure. So my name is Brianna. I am a plus size model. I'm a content creator. I'm a radio show host. I do a little bit of everything. But first and foremost, I give honor to God in everything I do. The name of my brand is Faith and Fashion 360. So that's just an intersection of who I am as a faith based millennial entrepreneur who is fashionable. So yeah, I just like to, educate others in creating fashion looks as well as content that feels comfortable and organic for them. So that's a little bit about me and what I do.
Yeah, so now we know creating content. And keep in mind, people, if you hear the knock, she does have a toddler, so don't please worry. This is in real time. Don't worry. She's doing her best, so she has to let her in. It's okay. I promise you all. But we know creating content is not that easy. So how do you push yourself to do so many avenues in creating your content? What is your strategies and what do you do to push yourself through it?
I think honestly, always having my camera or my phone ready, because you never know. I think one of the things we do is feel like, in creating our content, we have to be having these super big, super
Mm,
aesthetically pleasing moments. We have to have, all of these things going on when really creating content is just your life. It's just your
right.
everyday existence. It's, the things that are going on in your background. It's the thing that are going on day to day for you. And it could be just as simple as getting ready for work in the morning because somebody kind of needs that content to one, motivate them, and two, to maybe figure out what they're going to wear that day. So just kind of depending on your niche, depending on the things that you love to do, depending on the
Yeah.
things that interest you and make you tick, it's important to, kind of think about those things. Think about the things that you can go on and on about forever, because then your job doesn't get boring. It doesn't get
Right.
stale. You always have something to create because it's something you love. So, you're constantly thinking of, new ideas and things of that nature. So really just figuring out what you love and just not being afraid to record it. Not feeling like any moment of your life is too small because it all matters.
Right. And you touched on the point of just not being afraid. Like, how do you get over the hump of not being afraid? Because, like yourself, I know just being in public is okay. I know this is the right moment, but I know I'm gonna have people gawking and staring. Like, how did you get over that hump of where afraid is no longer part of the remedy?
I think about it as when you choose this lane, it really is one of those things where you say to yourself, you are choosing to kind of live out of the box. You're choosing to
Right.
live out of the ordinary. And if I can motivate somebody to do that while I'm creating content, so be it. But also you have to think that the 5 minutes or the 5 seconds that somebody, walks past you while you're creating your content is literally
Yeah.
just a snap in their day. And you shouldn't make it such a big deal. So yeah, they may watch you while you're doing your photo shoot. They may watch you while you're doing a couple takes walking down the street. But as long as you're concerned about what the end game is for that, I don't typically worry
Right.
about other people because they're gonna forget about me by the time they get to their destination.
Yeah.
And if I allow that to bother me, that 5 seconds that I'm allowing someone to affect me is gonna stop me from doing the creative things that I love. So that's just kind of
Right.
how I think about it.
Oh no, and that's facts. And I think really it's just, doing what you have to do on a consistent basis and getting over
Right.
it, right? Just keep doing it.
Right.
Just keep doing it because in the end, they're going to keep staring. And some people just stare. I believe when they stare to say, wow, she's giving me the confidence to pull
Exactly.
forward, to push through it. So if she's doing it, I can do it. And I know at sometimes it's
Exactly.
just like, wow, how is she able to pull over? Now we know you don't need all these big equipments, right? So what are some of the
Right.
equipments that you use in order to produce your content on a daily basis?
Yeah, I do. I try to keep it to a budget because it really is not that serious. As long as you have a really good quality smartphone, iPhone or Samsung, I'm not here to, join in on the debate. But
Right.
as long as you have a quality smartphone, really
Yeah.
good lighting, and that could just be the sunlight outside. So if you don't have the budget to get the ring light, or if you don't have the budget to, get the all of the expensive things that you see the influencers having, just having natural sunlight, and just having, somewhere to prop your phone up, you've got everything you need. One of the things that I do invest in are apps, really
Okay.
just to, help me create, clean content, help me create content that really is reflective of, what I want to put out to an audience, to my followers, and to the people who support me.
Okay.
So apps that I really like to use: Canva,
Mm.
CapCut, um, you know, apps like that that really are also kind of like a social marketing tool as well, because it is creating the content, but it's also kind of finding out what you want your content to be in its finished state.
Correct. And in creating the content now, do you just okay, you go with the flow, or do you have some type of consistent plan that you follow through? Or do you use an app to plan out your content, or you just go with the flow?
I think I've done a combination of all of those things. I
Okay.
used to be a super heavy, planner. They've had the apps where you can kind of plan out your Instagram grid and things of that nature. But one of the things I try to think about, just as I'm doing a calendar, is kind of what seasons are coming up, what holidays are
Right.
coming up, what big moments are coming up in my industry. So if you're in the cars per se, if NASCAR is getting ready to do something, if you're into cars and cooking, what kind of foods you would have at a Pix 500. I don't know. Just really kind of blending those things together, to one, make again the content that is your niche, but also the things that you like. So, right now is a really, really good time for fashion influencers because it's the holiday. We're getting ready to go to parties. We're getting ready to celebrate the new year. So really just kind of thinking about what the world around you looks like is
Yeah.
super important to making content that makes sense as well, because you don't want to just be doing, right now probably would not be the ideal time to do summer dresses, especially for
Yeah.
those of us who live, in colder climates. That's not really
Yeah.
timely. So really just thinking about what's going on around you, the seasons, the holidays. There's really a lot of good resources, free resources like content calendars.
Mhm.
Today's National Friday and things like that. So really
Right.
just kind of tapping into your free resources online is a really good strategy too. So I've done a combination of all of them.
I totally agree because I know
Yeah.
definitely when I first started, I did the calendar and I was like, okay, it's just not working. I am
Right.
I am
Like
more structured in my own way, right? So I find it to be
right.
structured and oh, spruce moment. Let me go ahead and do content. So I totally agree on that
Right.
part. But the Calendly or the calendar,
Yeah.
whatever app they had, it didn't flow with me. So I'm not a fan
Right.
of
And
it.
you have to
So
do
I
what
switched
works
that
for
to
you
Calendly.
too. So,
Right.
I think one of the things also just kind of having done, blogging, content creation, just,
Yeah.
within this realm for this period of time, a lot of it is trial and error. And you have to be
Hmm.
willing to have the trial and have the errors as well. There are some
Yeah.
things that you're going to do that don't work. There are going to be some investments that you make that will kind of like, okay, I maybe won't make that next year. I maybe won't make that next month, but take stock of that and don't say, okay, this isn't the journey for me. It's just finding out what works for you and what, is going to be productive and efficient for your journey.
Right, right.
Yeah.
And that's the key point, really finding your journey. Now,
Yeah.
as we segue to my next question, do you believe in your own right, yes or no, do you believe that content is oversaturated in any aspect,
No,
whether fashion, food, media, do you believe that it's oversaturated?
I wouldn't say so, because I
Okay,
find that we all view our corner of the world in such a different way.
right.
And I think it's necessary to, highlight the rainbow in that. Like I think it's so important for, all of these voices to come together online just to, show us the trees and show us the fashion and show what things look like from your perspective, because that's just kind of the beauty of being on social media. I
Right.
think people turn social media into, different things that really can become negative, but I think in the grand scheme of things, we're all in this space together.
Right.
And if we are just kind of being creative and showing each other what different colors look like to me and different textures look like to you, I think it's just all really inspiring. So no, I wouldn't say so. I love watching 12 different videos on how to make chicken parmesan, because I feel
Yeah.
like the way you make it the way
Right.
somebody else makes it is completely different, and I could really, take something from all of those things.
And I totally agree. I don't believe it's oversaturated, right? Because,
Yeah,
I love asking content creators that question because it's like, of course, there's a million and one people doing fashion, right? But you never get
right, right,
bored. And two, not everybody's going to see you. Sad to say, yes, you're on
right.
social media,
It's a
but not
big
everybody.
landscape.
Correct. So, and I think it's really a mentality thing where
Yeah,
if you start telling yourself that, oh, it's saturated, it's too many people doing it, you only closing yourself out because people haven't seen everybody. And it's a
right,
group that haven't seen you. So I totally agree on
right.
that. It's never
Yeah,
oversaturated because again, I know it's the cliche line where you go down the bread aisle, there's so many different bread names, but
the
nobody's not
bread.
losing
Yeah,
any. So
yep.
at the end of the day, it's never oversaturated,
We
of
might both
course.
like
So,
Italian bread in two different brands. You know what I mean? It's just
correct.
necessary to really kind of like stay your own course. I think we do get so caught up in other people's numbers and
Yeah.
other people's journeys, and oh, we're doing that thing the same, so now I can't do it. There's going to be so many places of your journey that mimic somebody else's, but that space doesn't have you. You know what I mean?
Right,
So
right.
it's important to just kind of pave and make that space for yourself.
Now, as you've been doing content creation for some time, what do you find to be your worst as well as your best? What has been your worst in this journey and what has been your best?
Worst. I would say worst. I think maybe that there is still content, like even in the space where I am, where I'm just kind of like posted. I think there's still content that I look back
Hmm.
on and I'm like, I could have done something with that. Like I didn't need to. I think it's very easy to get into your head when you're
Right.
creating things,
Hmm.
because there's so many different narratives that are placed out there that nobody wants to know about your journey, but also tell people your journey. So, I think at my worst, there might have just been a day where, I was in a space to do content, but, that
Yeah.
imposter syndrome might have kicked in.
Yeah.
Something might have just kind of thrown me off. So I think really, any of those times where I didn't necessarily stay the course,
Yeah.
was probably at my worst, because I'm sure that, something grand would have come out of that. So really just trying to make separation when you're not having a good day, because sometimes those are the days where somebody really needs to see that content. And I
Right.
think at my best, the same kind of thing, really just kind of putting that out there and getting, that feedback. And that's not necessarily what we're here for, but getting that feedback that,
Yeah.
this outfit is great because I can't find anything that looks like that for somebody in my body type, or
Yeah.
this is fantastic. Thank you for telling this story because I'm going through something similar. So I think it's
Right.
just really important either way, to dig deep, because somebody needs that. Somebody needs that, and the younger you needs that also. So ministering to myself and ministering to others at my worst and my
Yeah.
best.
And the point that you said feedback, I do believe, yes, I think the feedback is great because as much as you pouring into people on indirectly, because you're doing
Yeah,
what you do in love. So if you receive it and I'm pouring into you, thank you, God, that you're using
then
me.
that's
I'm just a
great.
vessel that's pouring into you. But when someone else come back to you and say, wow, this is really helping me in some type of positive light, it really pours back into you knowing that your work is not put into vain. Because that feedback is
Yes.
great. Yes, I'm not looking for it, but when it does come, it's like, wow, it's like your gas is already on full and it giving me that extra past that 100, right? So when I am kind
Right.
of
Right.
depleted, it still pushes me because of that one
Yeah.
person told me, wow, you really changed me in some aspect. It really pushes over because creating content is not easy. And it's not hard, but it's
No,
not
it
easy
is.
because you performing for people to really put yourself out there, to be judgmental, to really be,
Yeah.
to say
And
anything
they
positive.
will. And they will
Yeah.
rise to the occasion to be judgmental each and every time.
Yes.
And that cannot be, your cross to bear, to bear. That can't be, something that says you're not going to do what God placed it on your heart to do. So, you gotta
Yes.
take those punches too, because they'll come. They will come, and.
Awesome. So after these messages, we're going to continue to talk to Bree as we're talking about how she joined the styling trend and some other things that's taking place. So after these messages, we're going to come right back and we're going to continue to talk to my guest, Bree. Latest news, today's news, current news, gossip news, you name it. I am your host with Coffee with Joy as I share any up-to-date news that's taking place around the world. But if you would like to check it out, please make sure you go to my YouTube channel, Coffee with Joy, where I share the latest topic. I am your host with Coffee with Joy with today's topic. Yes. But keep in mind, make sure that you like, subscribe, and follow Coffee with Joy. So now we're going to watch this quick video of Bree as she's doing the trend, wearing and styling. How does she put her outfit together? And we're going to continue to talk to her how she follows the trend and how has it helped her along her creating her content.
Imagine the day they see you again. And you are just, well, better.
Awesome. Now, Bree, everybody was doing this style. What made you hop on this and really showcase your style, your points on how to, contribute to everyone to see?
Well, like I said, it's important to definitely do timely content. So, not everything you do has to be buzzworthy, not everything. And that's why I didn't do it right away. That trend has actually been out for a couple weeks. And I was like, I don't have the outfit yet. Like, I want to also be intentional about my content. So I had been, planning to purchase a pair of camo pants for some time. And the minute I got an opportunity to do it, I was like, okay, I got like 12 outfits that I can do for this. Yeah. So, it just happened, and it, lined up with my schedule. I had the piece that motivated me to really kind of create an outfit. And again, one of the things that I like to touch on, even with styling people, is that whatever you do has to be comfortable for you. And one of the things I enjoy doing is mixing, some of those feminine outfit pieces with, sneakers, or with a baseball cap, or, with something that you might consider more sporty. So really just kind of mixing those two aesthetics is something that I enjoy doing. So, I just was able to add my voice to the conversation with the style aesthetic that I already have.
I mean, that's good.
That was a pretty quick video. That was a quick video to do too.
Now, do you find yourself trying to make sure you stay within a time limit when you're creating your content, or you just go free for all and say, okay, I'm just going to go with it and I'm just let the time go?
You mean like when I'm creating it, or just
like
kind
you saying
of
it
when
maybe
I'm
7 seconds, or I'm gonna let it be a minute? Or do you find yourself creating those, or you just hey, I'm just going to create the content and flow through and just do this timepiece as I see fit? Because and the reason why I
I
brought
think
that
it's
question.
important. Yeah, I think it's important not to overdo. So I think about what my attention span is. And you also have
Yeah,
to, one of the things that they say also, just in, kind of getting your own education as it concerns to content, is that 7 seconds is kind of like your make or break moment when
it is.
someone goes to engage with your content. So I try to keep all of my content under 10 seconds.
Okay.
If it's more of a lengthy, get ready with me. So really also being in tune with your platforms as well. TikTok is a place where you can do a bit more of a chatty get ready with me. You can do your video, you can talk about all of the products and stuff you have, but you try to keep that under a minute. Anything over that, you kind of start to lose people's attention. So really just being knowledgeable on what that looks like across across social media apps. Facebook's a good place for like a nice like think tank moment, like a nice debate, or somewhere for people to comment and engage with your content. Instagram is like super quick, 7 seconds. TikTok, you can do something a little bit longer. YouTube is obviously a good place for a long form podcast or a vlog. So really just kind of being familiar. So depending on the platform you use is really just kind of how I would answer that, because it just kind of depends on where you're posting.
Yeah, and with that, like how are you able to create all these platforms and still be unique? Because I know some people do one thing and they showcase it on all,
And
and
then,
it's like watching one channel on TV. Like, okay, I see it on Instagram and I see it on TikTok. How are you able to
right.
master all these apps in order to and stay unique at the same time without being drained? Like what
Right.
is your key on being consistent in that?
So in that, I would definitely say that, be very mindful of who you're following. Because in that arena, in that space, then you are able to kind of do your research on somebody who's obviously knowledgeable, reputable, whether they have 800 followers or 8,000, because you'll see what works for them. So, really just kind of doing your research. And I would also say, just making sure, again, that you're just kind of intaking good information. There's a lot
Yeah.
of people out here who are, telling you about, different ways to level up and scale on social media. But it's really important to do your research on a coach, do your research on a program, do your research and know what works and what's going to be successful. And you may not find out right away. I think that's the super important thing, is that I've been doing content creation since 2016, and in 2016 it wasn't called content creation. I was blogging at the time, so it was something completely different. But just knowing how to transcend across time and really giving yourself that space to mess up is super important.
Now, do you find like there's a downfall to when you're creating your content and you just like scrap it, like you never showcase? Because there's, of course, our cameras filled with pictures and videos, and we never showcase it. Do you feel
Yeah,
like that work is in
yeah.
vain, and you're just like, how and why? Have you ever gotten to that point, or you just say, you know what, no, I'm gonna still push it through? Because there's so many people talk
I'll be
about it where they
honest.
they
I
have things in their
have a
camera, and they have yeah,
couple. Yeah, I have a couple of videos and I have a couple of pieces of content that I wanted to. So I'll tell you guys. And then, you guys can just follow me and look out for it. 2 years ago, I went and stayed at a Holiday Inn, and I had just done like this big shopping haul, and I stayed in the hotel room and I watched Christmas movies, and I vlogged the whole experience. I never posted it. And that was like maybe like 2 years ago. And I am going to go back and I'm going to repurpose that content and I'm going to post it. So
yeah,
I would say nothing is ever in vain.
yeah,
And
yes,
that
yes,
all of your content can still be used, even if you feel like you wasted it. There are things that I like years ago just used again, and I'm like, wow, I'm like, yeah, that was from like 6 years ago. You can always still use it. Nothing's in vain. Nothing is in vain.
I totally agree with that. Yes,
Yeah.
yes. But as we conclude, Brianna, is there anything that you would like to share with someone who may be struggling to create, or who in the midst of it and just kind of got stuck, or just need like a brain light on how to move forward? Like there's any quote or something that you live by on how you continue to keep creating content on so many platforms that you do?
Absolutely. I would say just think about what the younger you needed. The younger me needed to see someone like me across their phone, across their television, on their runway. So that really just motivates me to do this work, along with, the little hands and feet that are banging on the door while we're doing the interview. But, just really think about what the people around you need. It's so much bigger than just us. It's so much bigger than me pulling out my phone and saying, hey guys, this is the lipstick that I'm wearing. It's so much bigger than just, okay, this is a really nice fall color. It's really how you're impacting people around you, because
Yeah.
there are people that really need that 7-second video that you told over.
Mhm.
There are people that need to see you in New York doing your thing. There's people that need to see you laying down in the bed, drinking wine, watching Christmas movies. That might motivate somebody to take care of themselves better. So, really just think about this more as servant ministry. I know Joy and I are both believers, so she knows what I'm saying, but think of this as servant ministry and think about how you are impacting the lives of those around you. And you will never take another moment in your life, small or big, for granted.
Mhm. Amen. Yes, and I totally agree with that. So again, as always, publicly, privately, Brianna, thank you so much for being on with Coffee with Joy. As you all know, make sure that you like, subscribe, follow Coffee with Joy. It is so great to be back after such a great few weeks off. Of course, as a CEO, you need your time as well, of course. But I'm so grateful and thankful for my team, for my guests to be here. But make sure that you like, subscribe, and follow Coffee with Joy. And just a quick update, we did not win the award, but we're still winner in God's eyes. Amen. Yes, we're still winners. So we give it up to fat gay guys who have won. They won the award. So that's awesome. But look forward to our next guest, as we will have Naima, who will be coming up as we talk about entrepreneurship, and as she will be on our show next week. And we look forward to other guests that will be appearing. But if you would like to patronize Coffee with Joy, please make sure that you go ahead and our Cash App as well as our PayPal. Our the QR code is here. But keep in mind that you always know you can find me, Coffee with Joy, across all social media. Until then, you all know that if it's a weekday or weekend, it is Coffee with Joy. Until then, you all live life. Have a blessed night and see you all soon. Thank you all. Yes.
We